Hey, it's Spence, the evil genius.
Oh, yeah, baby. It's Spence from WP Launchify. The voice is almost back. I took a couple days off, been hard at work with coding, and I'm back with another live episode with a very special guest, Harry Maisel, who is a professional real estate broker, all-around great guy, a lifelong friend. Hello, Harry.
Hello, Spencer.
Harry and I are going to talk today about the topic of AI for normal human beings, but also because Harry is a real estate professional in the North Shore of Chicago, and the city has a lot of experience, both himself and through colleagues, with AI. And especially lately, he actually, I think I can out you on this a little bit. He actually participated in that Tony Robbins, Dean Grazios, right?
That's right.
Graziano, right. And about you're missing out if you're not an AI. So what I wanted to do is, Harry and I met for lunch last week. We met again today. Harry is upgrading all of his systems, and he's a MinuteLaunch participant, but also we had great questions I want to share about some of the things that are probably not being discussed for normal use. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Good.
Okay, good. So
Good
I'm going to set the stage and then we'll just jump into it, because this doesn't have to be forever. But what's happening is and we'll do a little screen share if necessary. We were just talking and I was showing you the new MinuteLaunch system that, again, for Black Friday, I'm doing a version of this that is ready to go one-time purchase. So the normal MinuteLaunch has a bunch of AI tools and capabilities that, as a WordPress site owner, you've been using many things over the years, probably don't need if you're just a real estate broker. But the boxed version was inspired by what other things we saw, where instead of just giving you a bunch of instructions and a very nice couple videos from a kid named Igor, we can give you a system that you can connect in a couple minutes, have your personal assistant doing the key features. So let's talk about the things that you picked up on that, as a real estate professional, you felt was most interesting about that. Like, what did you find interesting? And what did you say to me about, like, but wait, what about?
Well, yeah, I certainly feel that AI if we don't embrace AI, we're going to get lost in the shuffle, especially as realtors, utilizing and saving time, precious time that we spend doing a lot of manual things. Being able to use AI tools is extremely important, and I think the future success of our business, and in order to compete with all the other realtors out there, embracing those tools and creating processes is paramount.
Okay, so let me break that down a bit, because there's a couple things we talked about at lunch and we just showed today. And I share this with my audience often. Number one, there's the technological solutions that replace the tools that you're using from other services. But at the end of the day, it's really a relationship business. And the primary benefit, I think, for brokers today is, with all the online search tools and auto completion tools, and probably soon to be robots giving showings, really you're in the human relationship business. If you're a real estate broker, you have to get attention from regular people that only probably buy a house every so often, so that they recommend you to their friends or vice versa. And for that, there's a lot of traditional tools that people are using, but they're not really cutting it anymore, are they?
They're not. So yeah, I would agree completely that the relationship is key, and developing those relationships. But also, if you're out in front, if you have a consistent social media strategy, and as you said, if you have interesting content that you're constantly putting out and creating your brand, and enhancing your brand, if somebody who doesn't really have a realtor, or they don't have a friend who knows a realtor, you'll be in a much better position than your competing colleagues.
Well, let's break out those things, because this is what I showed you. And I'm going to, for those who are coming on board now, I'm going to show the screen share, but I want to just talk about, Harry and I broke down, first of all, what are the must-haves? Because Mark Benioff in that series most famously said, do the simple things. And that's what I've been talking about for years, because factually, you can confuse people with too much. And in fact, even when I was showing you a demo a moment ago, You said, all that's great for you. You probably know it. But for me, I just need to know the simplest things. So the simplest things for real estate brokers, and we'll explain the reason why, is number one, they're really bad at taking people and putting them into their CRM, right? You write down a napkin, you got an day planner. Somebody says, oh, Harry, I got a thing for you. You don't know where that business card went. So keeping track of people and the things that are interesting about them for future use. Number two, publishing on an internet website for real estate brokers is like a flea market on a Sunday. I got 16 different places, my listings and my contact info and 40 different pictures. And what everybody needs one domain with their name in it as their central point of contact with the world, that no matter what else they do, that's where all their stuff is. Because in a world of competitiveness, that's going to be the place people go, the Harry guy, Harry honey, Harry Maisel. That's it. Okay. Number three, something about you personally that is interesting to people that they'd want to hear from you, regardless of the bullshit that you're selling them. People like to hear from me sometimes because it's not always about the technology, but it's about the psychology, or it's about things that happen with my family or kids. You're into your own hives, yoga, pickleball. You have 3 lovely near adult daughters and happily married. You know all the gossip of Glencoe and around. You have stuff that's cool to share with people that would be fun to just get news on. And at the end of the day, that's what people want to know. And then finally, the world that we're in with the AI is important because it's not that you have to do the work. It's that you have to be consistently putting a message out there that shares to the world that you have something to say. And today we're using this tool. It's a YouTube StreamYard video that gets shared with clips. 11 people just came and went, and probably another 11 will show up. When the clips show up, I showed you, I'm getting 1,500, 1,800 views on 30-second clips. My normal videos get, I don't know, 25 to 200 views. If you're doing that and it's connected to your homepage with your stuff, and you have a CRM that collects data about the people who come and are interested, think about what happens when the day comes that their cousin, their uncle, their nephew, is selling a house, buying a house. That Harry guy, I hear from all the time. Give me your feedback on that part, because that was the part where we're trying to figure out what is most useful for you personally, and how would that apply to similarly situated real estate brokers, Chicago or otherwise.
I think everything you just said is very applicable. Obviously, it's all relationship driven. It's consistency, again, being there at the right time, at the right place. As you said in earlier conversations, people don't normally sell their houses every year. It's 5-7 years. So being there, but publishing interesting content on a consistent basis is gonna, win the race, so to speak. Right. But also, enhancing relationships and having consistent touch points with your people in your CRM. That is very important.
All right. So we're going to break down some of the things that you and I talked about. Now, before this, I had the pleasure of showing Harry this new system, which, by the way, on my left is friends of the show. No, this is my good friend Claudio, who is Claude Desktop. It is a free download. Claude Desktop from Anthropic. If you've ever used any of the products from Claude in the browser, it's his cousin that downloads to your Mac or PC. And it brings things that you cannot do to your desktop, which is, by the way, the whole point of this. Because number one, nobody should have to be technologically advanced. And number two is nobody should have to even go on the back end of WordPress. When we're using Claude, everything that I just showed to Harry shows up on the front, except for one thing, which is your CRM. And your CRM is Customer Resource Manager, or you can, sometimes people call it contact. But the point is, it's the list of all the human beings that you're interacting with. And when you're doing that, let's go to this context. You can keep track of a remarkable amount of information that is useful to not only manually reaching out to them, but automatically. So let's break down each one of these at a time. First of all, we instantly connected with no work, the free Claude Desktop, simply by going to our tool here. And we just said MCP setup. We pressed a button and put a clip in, and he was connected. And I've shown this a million times. You saw me do that. The next thing we did is we just went over here and grabbed this quick start guide, which is kind of like we were joking around. If you had a teenager, this is copy the instructions on how to buy milk at the Walgreens, which we did. And then next thing I did is I said, are you connected? And Claude said, yes, I am, Dad. And from there, we had him do some remarkable things, right? One of the things we had him do was to make some pages. And what's different about this is that Harry and I know, because Harry has websites that I help him with sometimes, it's really difficult to work on WordPress or the back end if you're not experienced, right? You were just saying that to me. Like, easy for you, Spence. Well, what if we, instead of doing that, just had the tool make these pixel perfect, cool things? Now, what we told Claude to do was, here's a picture of Harry, or search a picture, make it classy, make it in a certain colors, make it a landing page that, you know, he could start talking about with his phone number on and contact, right? We made this in what, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
With just a prompt, which is right here. I said literally, pretend I'm a real estate broker. I'm talking to my friend Harry Maisel, blah, blah, blah. The prompt is here. Next, we said, Harry wants to sell some property. What if Harry's too lazy or doesn't want to be bothered with taking all of those people that were booking calls with them automatically, and I'll show you that in a second, and send out emails to them? Why? Because if you send out emails of interesting things that aren't about real estate, they'd probably be more interested to read them, right? So the next thing we did is we made, from Fluent CRM, we made a couple campaigns. The first one was like, you know, Harry Maisel doing like typical real estate stuff, right? Here's your picture. Here's, you know, what makes me different. I'm about honey and transactions and so forth. But then we said, what if you do it differently? And we do something that was like, oh, and it's actually here as a page. We said, what if you said, take one of the contacts and write him a personal letter, right? Make something that looks like it was handwritten on a typewriter from when you and I were kids and stuff. And I think he did this here. Maybe he did it here. Let's say, nope, he did it here. Handwritten letter. I got to copy it back out. Sorry here.
Yeah, that was cool.
But the idea is, oh, here we go. Old-timey typewriter letter, right? And all that has to happen is this goes in the back and it becomes, I just didn't save it. It just becomes an instant email campaign or an instant letter. So what I did for this one is I went into CRM. That's why it's not there. And I looked up the client, pretend the guy's name is Harry. And I said, I want to send this guy Harry an email. And all I want to do is click here. And I simply paste in what the Claude gave me. And here's what it gave me, like an old time, looks like when we went to high school, right?
That's right.
All right. Finally, this CRM, dear Harry, this keeps track of everything that is created or sent or whatever, so that in the future, I can now add different attributes through a tag to this person. Like in this case, if you completed an assessment or I met you at Pickleball, I can make a new tag, something like, you know, Pickleball, add new tag. Why is this important? In the future, I can find everybody that I've met in my CRM that I want to send an update on about, oh my God, this crazy thing happened over at the Bubble when we were playing pickleball. And on the way home, a bunch of my honey fell out of the trunk, and you wouldn't believe who I ran into from Glencoe. And now, as stupid as all of this sounds, I would rather get an email from Harry about that than anything else. And let me show you an example of what this is. Hey, Claude, we're doing a live show, and I got Harry and a bunch of folks watching. Make an example email if Harry Maisel went to play pickleball one day and some crazy friends won a game, and on the way, honey fell out of his trunk, and the guy who came along to help him was his friend Bob Smith. Write a really funny, like handwritten looking letter. Give it to me in HTML5 that I can send out to anybody on my list that is interested in those topics. So you say something like this in human language. Now, Harry, when you were at this other webinar, they told you some tips on how to use like ChatGPT and stuff, and you asked me about that. from all the stuff I'm blabbing about, are you on board with the idea like you could just talk to this guy and how he does stuff? I mean,
Are you talking about the Chat GBT?
I'm talking about when you're using, in this case, it's Claude, like
Yeah.
chat.
Well, what we're learning, I guess, in the AI stuff is more about prompting, just getting information back, not necessarily implementing tools like what we're doing here that will essentially make your life super easier, you know, in your business.
But how, because you saw that webinar and stuff, what were the things that you thought would make your life easier? And what I keep telling you, and I'm prompting you here a bit, is it's one thing to know what to say to a tool. It's another thing, what do you do with that once you say it? And the difference between these two worlds is I felt like having the tools to do something and manage your whole business with a prompt is different than watching a video of Igor and then having a bunch of copy paste things that go up into the internet, never to be seen again. What were your impressions on that?
You know, it's a little different. I think what they're getting to in the seminar is figuring out and gaining clarity around your goals, your purpose, and ChatGPT is a really, you know, I'm sure they're all like this. They're able to discern by putting in all this information and cloning yourself based on all these prompts. You're going to get really clear on your direction or your business and what you maybe you're not doing currently, and you could do better. So it's a guideline or it's a template. But what you're offering is quite different. It's more of the tools around implementing those goals or those specific, clear, concise direction that you're going to now take it and run with.
Right. Okay. So what I hear you saying, which is true, but there's also parts of this that's hard to understand and to explain. So we've got Claude on the left, and we've got this tool suite that's available for one-time purchase, or you could do it as fully hosted as a subscription. For less than the cost of the tools you're using now, I also provide all of the training and all of the hands-on support. But more importantly, this is a curated set of tools that the LLM knows about. So we didn't talk about this, but now I'm going to show you skills documents. So when he does something remarkable that you like, we tell him to make what's called a skill document. And you can see a bunch of skills here in a library that are available to my customers. These skills are comparable to, let's say you had Spence's virtual employee who came from overseas. You say you need a legal assistant, you need a medical assistant, you need a guy who's good at doing tax forms or filling out MLS reports. We show the guy how to do it with either a pre-made skill from somebody else, or we give him the skill. That's what Dean and Tony were talking about. But here's the difference. When we teach him the skill, he writes it up, saves it himself, or we give it to you and you can share it. You don't have anywhere in the other world to make that work, because when I give a skill to ChatGPT, it's like having a walkie-talkie conversation with the parking lot attendant. It doesn't have anything that happens afterwards. When we give a skill to this guy, watch this. He not only remembers it, he can repeat it and do it again and get it better and better. So for example, if I give this guy my whole skills library and I say to him such as this: hey, Claude, Harry and I were just talking. He went to that webinar with Tony Robbins and was remarked about how cool it was to teach your virtual you how to do stuff. And I said, that's awesome, but we've got that in better because we've got the actual tools you can use to make all of those skills happen. Here's the MinuteLaunch site with a bunch of skills on it. Just quickly look at that and remark back here what you could do from these skills immediately with the actual website that you're connected to, versus somebody just sort of being stuck with, okay, now the tool gave me a bunch of text. What do I do with it? Remark on that. Now I'm asking him directly to talk about this topic. And this is what's so fascinating. As he goes on and learns and gets more skills and does more stuff for you, and you teach him how to be, how to act, he will take on the personality like if you hired a virtual assistant. But because I can help him with the skills that you need immediately, you, Harry, do not need to be an expert. So you don't need to learn those things that Tony talked to you about, because the skills that you need are available for you to be handed over by this library or from other people or from asking him questions. They gave you factually correct stuff, but that'd be like somebody who says, hey, if you read a lot of books, you're going to become really smart. That's far different than if I gave you a custom QuickBooks program to do your bookkeeping, it's going to do your books for you. Like one of them is designed to make the actual outcome, and the other one is just generic statements. So here he's actually commenting, okay, Harry, here's the huge difference. And I can publish this stuff too. Watch this. He's approaching all the things and also what he did and how he did it. He's going to do two things. I'm going to say, number one, Claude, make a skill document about what you can do from what I taught you today so that you could repeat it, or another AI or Harry could have you repeat it just by telling you use that skill. Number two, explain all of this in a beautiful HTML5 web page. Give me the HTML, or even better, publish on the site what you're learning right now. That way we can demonstrate how all you need to do is be told or shown what to do by a normal person with no skills whatsoever, and you can manage the whole website for them. Let's see what he does. So while he's doing that, let's compare. Tony and Dean are factually correct, but if I use a typewriter and I learn how to type, I still got to type and then take the pages, and I got to take it to a publisher. I don't know what I do. If I have a tool that makes stuff for me and knows how to type and does it, and it can contact and research all the publishers and send out the book and do the YouTube and blah, 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 it's quite a different thing. And the price point of theirs was fair, but we're selling this for either monthly, $197, everything included, plus personal concierge support, or $500 for one site, $1,000 for 3 sites, $1,500 for 10 sites. If you're in the business, for example, of running a thing that you want to do for yourself or your clients. Now, with all of the things built in, including the connections for the LLM and the router keys, it's quite a different value proposition, because one could literally do the things we started talking about, Harry, which was, I'm a real estate broker who needs to keep more contacts, need to keep people informed of my name, come to a site that's the focal point of what I do. I want to make content, which, by the way, we're doing right now. And in StreamYard, it will clip it out. And if you and I talked about gossip on the North Shore, like, by the way, while he's doing that, he spit out this thing. Did you notice? He spit out the letter. You know, he kind of made it funny because he made it look like it was handwritten, but the Great Pickleball Honey Disaster. So there I was, feeling like a champion. I'm not saying this is the thing you want to send, but it's pretty funny that if you sent this out, people would think you're either sending a ransom note or, you know, you're in prison. But the point is, you can change what this looks like and it would be remarkable, versus how many brokers have sent you that, like, oh, look, the market is doing this, or, oh, look, I sold $50 billion more property that you'll never be able to pay for. Like, this would be funny to get because he's talking about a funny story, and you'd be like, has Harry lost his mind? Maybe he has. I should reach out and talk to him. Okay. So the point is, it's very meta, but guess what we didn't do once today, Harry? Not once did we touch the back end of WordPress. So how do you feel while we're waiting for him to make the document about those things? What's your feedback?
We could jump in.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, oh, he's already done. I'm saying, like, I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but at the same time, it's interesting because you and I are trying to figure out what people who are not skilled would want to do.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see what he created. By the way, automatically, it's very, looks like it's done in a computer lab. We could change the style, but what did he learn today? MinuteLaunch with MCP, builds pages, publishes live, uploads images, makes professional formatting, connects to your real site, working CRM, done in minutes. Here's the other way around, that, you know, not wrong, but AI gives you text, you copy paste manually, you do the formatting, you upload images, you struggle with style, you do the technical work, takes hours or days. By the way, did you actually ever build anything from what you learned on that webinar?
Not
for
yet.
$1,000?
No, I don't think that's what their aim is.
What is their aim? That you never actually build anything, or?
I don't think it's more about learning prompts and patterns with AI and utilizing it to save time.
Okay, but fair enough. You're trying to the thing that attracted you was like fear of missing out, fear of missing the AI revolution.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but I'm asking you, in a practical sense, they taught you things. How does that apply to fixing that problem versus something like this? Is there anything that feels like, or, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, I know, but in other words, what I'm saying is like, I could give you book knowledge and I can give you a tool that has the same book knowledge. Is there really a comparison? I don't know.
There's no comparison. If you're wanting to grow your business, to save time and to utilize great tools, the tool option is far heavily weighted in your favor.
Okay. So the takeaway, which is interesting, and I'm summing it up because this is just a live event, people come and go on this, is that first of all, he summarized a skill and he put it on a page that he now knows about and can save, can share. He can do it again. He also made things that, even though we could change the style, like I'll show you, he actually linked to the other stuff he made, right? So it's like he's able to build all of the hard web stuff so that you don't have to ever worry about the back end. Even though you own it, you control it, it's WordPress, it runs half the internet, you don't have to do the typical WordPress stuff, right? And that's a remarkable difference because you do have a website. What's your domain? The Honey site again. It's Honey by Harry or Harry by Honey?
It's
Honey by Harry.
Honey by Harry.
Okay. And this is a site that this is it, right? You modified a few things. You and I built this. This was the last website you and I worked on together with manually. And it was very informational because we spent all day, had a lot of fun. I do not particularly think this is awesome. In fact, the front page of this looks like a dog ate your homework. If I was to take this, I want to show you something. And by the way, I love you to death. This isn't about you because I built this with you, but you decided to remake the homepage.
I did take some liberty with this after you
destroyed the homepage.
I took liberties.
You did what you needed to do because I needed you to feel in control, but you basically made it look like exactly what somebody who would take $1,000 course would do at home. And watch the difference. I paste that in. I'm going to say this. Listen, Claude, you've got some tools to look at this site that I made with Harry. Take this information and repackage it and make it super professional, sexy, but don't make it look like AI. Make it look like it was done by the guy who you just did the other website for. So it's about Harry's Honey business. Use some of the same stylistic aesthetics and bring in, again, the flavors and the other colors. Remake it and republish it right now without making Harry do anything to ruin it. I'm just kidding. By the way, Harry and I go way back since we were like 14 years old. So I'm just giving him shit.
It's all good.
But the point I'm making bigger is everybody worries about, oh, I'm hiring this real estate development firm. Oh, a web agency. Oh, I'm hiring a broker. I'm hiring. They spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to do what? To make a pretty website page. You told me, oh, you quote, I don't want to say what, but like, I spent thousands of dollars on this something or other, so I don't out the company. He can do it now. One-time payment of $500 or multiple sites, or you can do monthly and have concierge support from me and everything hosted. The bottom line is, though, he can take your info, make it look gorgeous, and guess what I'm not doing? Hands are above the wheel. Okay? And then take the people who you come across who use your free intake form or I'm interested in Honey or Pickleball or whatever, and send them timely newsletters that keep them informed that, like, whenever I got somebody who needs to sell something, my buddy Harry is the guy I'm going to call, versus, oh, look at that real estate broker sold another $20 million house in Lake Forest. Like, I care, And I'm not, by the way, I love real estate brokers because they're my friends, but I'm just saying, okay, one of the things that just happened is notice he ran out of juice. When you're with Claude, if he runs out of juice, it's like he's at the bowling alley and he ran out of quarters. You ran out of tokens. Start where you left off. And I'll just remind him of that because essentially it's like you're calling home and you ran out of quarters and you're like, Mom, pick me up at the bowling alley. Just start a new chat and he'll finish out what he started. For some reason, when you're using Claude is limited on the desktop. I don't know why. He could go all day, has 200,000 tokens, but they stop him from working in like a couple lines of chat. I don't know why they built him that way. So this is how we get over that until they fix him. But Claude is very easy to use versus the other tool I showed you called Cursor, which most of our clients and especially real estate professionals they're not going to use. This guy, you can use him on your phone, on your laptop, your desktop, your whatever. And he's always right by your side doing things like reading the email, setting your calendar. By the way, reminds me, you've got a booking page here. So we had talked about like, what do you do as a broker for people who call you? What do you do now? If somebody wants to set an appointment with you?
We schedule through Calendly, or we take just a voice. We do it manually via voice, or we do it through text.
Right. Okay. So like, let's pretend, and even though I didn't make this page beautiful, let me make it beautiful. I'll just make it beautiful. He could make it beautiful, or I could. I'll just turn off all the extra fluff on it. And I said, built into this system is an amazing booking system, exactly like Calendly, that works with all of the tools you're using, your phone, mobile. If I want to book with Harry, I go ahead and book here, find a time, do it by phone, Zoom, whatever. And then what happens is that person ends up in Harry Maisel's CRM, also can be sent to Harry as a notice that somebody just made an appointment. The time that he makes or she makes with you is put into your Google Calendar. And the best part of all is if I modified this slightly to add some fields like, hey, do you play pickleball? Do you eat honey? Do you live near, Park Avenue in Glencoe? Then that information is available for you to then filter and determine who gets emails from you about which topics, right? All right, we're going to wrap this up with this because you've been most gracious in my infomercial. By the way, the ShamWow is one of the most amazing cleaning tools on the market today. It's got super cleaning power. No. Do you remember, by the way, while we're waiting for Claude, do you remember Billy Mays, the late Billy Mays?
Yeah.
Do you remember there's Billy Mays, there's Ron Popeil with the Pocket Fisherman and all the other stuff.
And there's Mr. Microphone.
Joe Sugarman, Mr. Microphone. Hey, good looking. I'll be back to pick you up later. Well, Spencer Foreman is the new Joel Sugarman, except without the sharper image. Okay, here is what he created. By the way, I'm not pitching this as the be-all end-all, but like, how much effort did we put into making this? Pure, local. I mean, this was exhausting, wasn't it? Pure, local, extraordinary. Shop our honey, our story. Crafted by nature, perfect by passion. Now, I didn't tell him because he didn't ask to put your pictures in, but I could. And the point I'm saying is he could make it look pixel perfect, awesome, including your real images. And better, because look what he's got. He's got social proof. He's got send me a form, local delivery. All of the elements are in place for awesomeness. And that was just his first effort, just to show people, and we won't stick around. What I would tell them is things like this. I love your first effort, Claude, but number one, put the headlines in white on dark. Number two, put a great image of bees or honey or Glencoe or what you got on the other website behind that. Use the real image URLs. This is Harry Maisel here, so you're legally allowed to do this. I know you're sometimes conservative about not doing that, but that's Harry here, and we're talking with him, so he wants to see what it looks like with his real images. So we just discovered, because we tried it, to make videos of you and pictures of you. Google has put in a new copyright crazy blocker that tells Anthropic, do not under any circumstances allow the face of somebody to be used by somebody else or their website or whatever. There are ways around it. You just have to understand what's happening. It's not because he failed. It's because the big five and the content owners have said, we're not so happy about you repurposing our stuff without us letting you do it. And they also don't want the liability, right? Because you know what I would...
Privacy protection.
I mean, you know what I would do to you with your imagery. It would be amazing. It would be Harry in space. And that's the thing. Like, we've already got enough problems. I think it's probably good that it's conservative, but we'll give just enough time left here. And the takeaway from all of this is, one of the things that I really love doing is teaching people making videos. When we were talking before, I showed you, why is this important to somebody who has no interest in real estate? Well, I do my videos here in WP Launch. I have a very small audience, maybe 7,000 people. But what I've been doing is an experiment over the years with my clients and with myself, is that when clients use YouTube, it's free marketing better than Facebook, because Google owns YouTube. Google searches and Facebook and Instagram, all different companies, but Google owns YouTube, and the search of Google still is relevant, but now it's looking for other content. So every day of the week, I make a short video. Like, here was a video of me and another client friend, Anne, and we just had a chat like we're having. two things happened. Number one, Claude made all of the description for me, including all this crazy detail work and links. Number two, in the top link, you'll notice it says, get started with MinuteLaunch today, which goes to my, you guessed it, personal homepage, which sells stuff or has people sign up for my email list. Number three, the fascinating part about this was we just talked about various keyword topics, but then the tool that we're using here, StreamYard, takes this YouTube video and it's sliced and diced it automatically. No work by me. And I'll be damned. The video with Ann that was released on Wednesday or Thursday has got 1.8 thousand views, 1,800 views. Now, other video here, 1,000 views, 1,100 views. In the last 2 weeks, I've gotten about, I'm going to guess about 8,000 to 9,000 views of people that otherwise had no idea who I was and what I'm talking about. How does that help you as a real estate broker or a professional? Well, imagine you're trying to get attention so people know to tell their friends about you or about your business, whether it's online or offline. How easy is it nowadays to get on and have a phone call and talk about honey or pickleball or look what fell out of the trunk? Instead of talking about how much real estate you sold, talk about what is up with the alderman today in Bucktown, or did you see that dog at the park? And then you send it to people who say they like dogs. And guess what? The next time they want to sell property, that guy, dogs by Harry, or in your case, honey by Harry. Now, this is what I'm showing and doing because all of these things, as well as all of my blog posts that are associated with this, it's spencerforman.com blog. Guess what? I didn't write any of these. I just showed up and he actually took my live video content, wrote out the transcript, wrote the blog post, and made it friendly to whom? Humans and to the actual AI search tools that are looking for content to train on. So now if somebody did a search for something I talked about, like for example, Google search Pickle perfect website design AI WordPress, okay? I'll be damned. I paid zero money and I show up on the homepage of Google for Pickle perfect WordPress website with AI. And I did that from a week ago from 2 videos that were like me talking for 30 seconds, okay? You can't compete with that stuff. That's how it's working. And if you're not doing that, that's your fear of missing out. Here's his result of fixing your page. Pure local extraordinary. Crafted by nature, perfected by passion. He still didn't put the image in, but he did all the other cool stuff that I asked him to do. And I'm going to ask him, why no images? What's the deal with no images? Why didn't you put the images in that I asked for with the links to Harry's other site? Let's see. Maybe there's a good reason. Maybe he said Uncle Google said no bueno. Let's see. Oh, he did, but they're set as background images. Okay, so he can fix it. Bottom line, he fixes it. He installs them. Good to go. I don't need to belabor the point. I want to say, first of all, you are the best listener in the world because I just talked your ass off today, which is ridiculous. Let me stop sharing this. I enjoy speaking with you, but I appreciate you being my willing sidekick for this because I really needed to demonstrate a lot of this stuff. And okay, so let's take a step back. No holds barred. From what we talked about when we met about the thing that I couldn't believe you told me you were the one who paid for this, but like you and a couple other people I know, very smart people, felt compelled to pay. What did you feel then versus what do you feel now? And what do you think you would recommend to people who are our peers and otherwise?
I mean, they're both good options, especially when you're getting into this. If you have unlimited funds, which I don't have unlimited funds, I want to learn as much as possible about AI and how to utilize it to my benefit. But obviously the things that you're doing and the tools that you have are, once you really understand the ability of those tools, I think it's not even a comparison, but it is, I can't say that the Tony and Dean show there's not value, because I think there is, especially for the layman. And there are a lot of laymen out there who really don't understand AI and its capability.
Right.
But they're different animals, right?
Agreed. I mean, that's informational, and I think they're not pretending it's otherwise. So in fairness, this is not intended to say either or. I think it's factually correct, and you're appreciating this more than ever, that everybody is moving to what these things are doing, and we're at the early adopter stage. What I say to my clients on a regular basis, and the tools that I'm building beyond this is the beginner level of tools, is that you don't need to be throwing rocks and bottles at the looms. You need to learn how to talk to the loom. Like the Luddites, they just said, no, we're going to hand sew stuff. I'm like, that ain't going to work. The future that is here today, and it'll be here like Tuesday, is you and me and everybody else learning how to use the tools to make more work. Because we're old enough to remember when I started practicing law in 1991, there was no fax machines. In 1993, fax machines came, and it went from a week of sending a letter out and a week till it comes back to that day you had to answer. Real estate brokers and other professionals today, God bless you. As soon as all your peers are using AI tools, like I've got 47 guys working for me right now. Good luck keeping up with me and my whole crew of guys if you're still writing letters by hand, right? And that's what Tony and Dean were talking about. But the problem is, that's theory, that's informational. Okay, it's a good primer. Now, what are you going to do about it? And I think that's where people get lost in the vanilla coded things and the other platforms, because it's like, remember when there was 60 different phones you could buy? Trios, Blackberries, Nextels, and now there's rectangular glass things.
Yeah, little computers in your hand.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to take my son to driving class. Harry, we're going to talk more because we hang out. Harry's going to be taking a trip soon. Are you allowed to say that? He's going on a journey.
Going abroad.
He's going abroad. We won't say it, but if anybody wants to meet Harry, meet him under the bridge on the Thames River. But anyway, Harry, thank you for joining me. I hope you've gotten great value.
I hope to do it again.
We're going to do more updates with Harry because Harry is working with me on a lot of his stuff. And also, I will touch base with you later because I'm going to drive my son to driver's class. Soon he'll be driving me. Namaste. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Okay, hang in there, Harry.
Yeah.